So I am the daughter of first generation everythings. Both of my parents were the first to go to grade school, the first to go to high school, and the first to go to college in their families. And upon graduating from college, they also became responsible for supporting their extended families. My parents did not give me a trust fund, but they gave me something greater. And today, as a finance expert, a CEO, and a millionaire, I'm going to share the lessons my parents taught me because that is the legacy I carry forward. So let's talk about what they taught me and what I hope to pass on. Hey everyone, this is Bola Shokumbi. I'm the founder and CEO of Clever Girl Finance. I'm also the sixth-time author of the Clever Girl Finance book series and my most recent book, Clever Girl Millionaire. Welcome to Clever Girl Finance TV. So in this video, I want to share a personal story about where I come from. And the reason why I'm sharing this story is because when it comes to money, your why is just important as your how, as your path to building that wealth that you desire for yourself. So the backstory, where it all started. So growing up, I watched my parents break so many barriers. They both come from backgrounds of poverty. Like I mentioned earlier, they're the first, or they were the first in their families to receive formal education and then turned around and were supporting many, many members of their extended family. My mom still supports many members of her extended family today, even in her retirement and her working part time. And they showed me what resilience looked like. They showed me what having clear focus and intention looked like. And I learned so much from my parents growing up. Eventually, my family moved here to the US, and we didn't come here with a lot of money. They did not have a blueprint or a grand plan. Their goal here was seeking better opportunities and a better life for their family, for their children. And so moving here was something that was a huge opportunity, but at the same time, life was very, very different for them. My mom came here with a background in finance. She had an MBA that she got going to school in Europe, an opportunity that was really, really great for her. And she worked as an investment banker in Nigeria. And then she ran multiple side hustles. I often call my mom the side hustle queen. If you are a part of Clara Finance or you've been around long enough, you've heard me refer to her as that because she was always dabbling in something as a way to bring in extra money to just keep the household afloat and support the family and also extended family members alongside my dad, especially after she got her college education after being a stay-at-home mom until her mid-30s. But when my mom, who was the first of my parents to move to the United States, when they finally decided that they were going to migrate here and they had the opportunity to, when she moved here, she had to start over. And honestly, it was humbling. She worked as a nanny and she worked as a nurse's aide to support our family because her qualifications didn't directly translate over when she moved here. And it was just harder for her to find a job in her field here coming from a different financial system. And so she did the work that she could find, which was taking care of other people's kids and eventually getting a job and training to become a nurse's aide. And as a teenager, who was just about to start college, getting into college, it was very hard for me to watch my mom make that transition. But what it taught me is that dignity is not in your job title, it is in perseverance. And my mom persevered through that because she had an intention and she had a focus, and it was to support her family and get her kids on their feet and also pursue her own personal goals that she had for herself. So she was going to do what it took to get there, and that's exactly what she did. Now, my dad, also the first in his family to go to school, didn't actually start the first grade until he was 13 years old because there simply wasn't any money for him to start school. But when he did, he eventually was able to get his undergrad, his master's, and he went on to get two PhDs in math and in physics. And that to me is just something so incredible, an incredible life accomplishment because he started what in the way that people would say was late at 13 in the first grade. Most people start the first grade at like 5 and 6 years old, right? So he was a late starter, but he, accomplished so much. And while he was earning his PhDs before I was born, my dad was moving his his family around because, he got opportunities, he got scholarships to be abroad, to acquire this education. And so he moved his family with him if there was the option to do that. But eventually they moved back and settled in Nigeria before eventually moving over here to the US. So, given that background on both of my parents, I want to talk about the bigger why that they instilled in me or that they gave me. So, when I talk about pursuing financial independence, or when you hear me talk about it here in Clever Finance, when I talk about having money or building wealth, I'm not talking about having money to buy handbags or to buy cars or to buy houses. Those are all great things, but I'm talking about something else. I'm specifically talking about money that leads to freedom and money that gives you options, the ability to say no, the ability to walk away from situations that don't serve you, and the ability to have impact within your family, your immediate family, your extended family, and beyond. And while my parents did not have a lot of money, they did have that impact because they supported not just my siblings and myself, but so many other people in my extended family. When you have options, you have the choice to choose your path instead of being cornered by circumstances. My mom, even though she worked as a nanny, even though she worked as a nurse's aide, she had options. She created options for herself. So she didn't get stuck in a system. So she didn't have to be in a situation that she felt like she had no out from. She intentionally did work that was below her qualifications, well below her qualifications. I mean, from an MBA to taking care of other people's kids, because she wanted to have options and not be cornered into a situation where she wouldn't be able to have choices. My mom eventually went back to school at 50 and became a nurse, which was a goal that she had for herself. But in the meantime, when she first, changed, migrated, changed her whole world, shifted her whole world around, she still wanted to maintain options for herself. And she did that by doing jobs that she found that would allow her to maintain those options. Also, when I talk about money, I'm talking about legacy. And that is something that is deeper than dollars. That is something that your kids will have, that you can empower your children with your legacy, even if they never see your bank account, even if you never leave them any money. And your legacy can be something that your extended family and your community benefit from, even if they don't know your name. And so when I think about money, when I talk about money, when I talk about building wealth, as I mentioned earlier, I'm talking about freedom, options, and legacy. That is what wealth really means to me. And that is what I learned about money from my parents, even though they didn't give me a trust fund. By the way, if you are enjoying this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to this channel, tell your best girlfriends about Clever Girl Finance, and then stop by and check out our 30+ courses. They are completely free to help you start building your own wealth and your own legacy. And so this journey I'm talking about in this video of building wealth, of freedom, of options, of legacy, are all things I deep dive into in my new book, Clever Girl Millionaire, which you can find everywhere books are sold. I talk about breaking cycles, building wealth, and doing it in a way that works for you. I also walk you through the 4 pillars of wealth building, the 4 pillars of prosperity I have used and leveraged to becoming a millionaire and continuing to build long term wealth over time. And finally, I talk about the mindset shifts I had to make to believe I was worthy of building wealth in the first place. So definitely check out my new book, Clever Girl Millionaire. As I mentioned, it's available for purchase everywhere books are sold, as an ebook, an audiobook, and physical books as well. Okay, let's get back to the video. So what does it even mean to create freedom or options or leave a legacy if you don't have a ton of money? I'll tell you another story. So before I had much money, one of the things I wanted to do was give back, right? I came here as an immigrant, living in Europe first and then moving to the US. And my parents made a lot of sacrifices for me to go to college, especially as an international student, paying my tuition in dollars because I didn't qualify for financial aid because at the time I was not a US citizen. And even though I got partial scholarships, it was a big sacrifice that they made, in terms of their retirement plans in order for me to go through school, even with those partial scholarships. It was very expensive and it was a stretch for them. And so coming out of college, I wanted to give back in a way that would be impactful and also help other people in the way that my parents had helped me achieve my dream of, going to college and becoming a college graduate. So I started a scholarship fund for less privileged kids in my dad's hometown where he grew up. And again, thinking back to his story where he didn't start the first grade until he was 13 years old because there were no funds, I knew, that there were many other people in that same situation as he found themselves, just given our background. And so my goal was to sponsor as many kids as I could through primary and high school education. And I was able to do this, and my friends stepped in, family stepped in. And over the period of time that I had that educational fund, we sponsored 12 children through grade school and high school. And that is something that is so incredible. Again, I wasn't a millionaire, I didn't have a lot of money. At the time I started that fund, I was working my first job in New York City, earning $54,000 before taxes. But with support from other people, we were still able to create this impact and, in a way, create this legacy that those kids will forever remember. So, my point with this is that money becomes powerful when you can use it as a tool for change. And that tool for change can also tie into your legacy, whether it's in your family, in your community, or beyond. My parents modeled that for me. This is what they taught me. This is what I learned from them through observation. And this is something that I want to continue to pay forward. My dad passed away just a few months ago, and in his honor, I will continue to carry forward those things that he taught me, which were generosity, discipline, and having a good legacy. Like I mentioned, I don't have a trust fund for my parents, but the inheritance I carry is everything that they taught me that I can pay for it. And with Clever Girl Finance, our platform is completely free. We do that through our courses, through our community, through our mentor calls, through this channel here that you're watching. And it's something that I'm really proud of. Another thing I learned from my parents is that it is important to define wealth. Just because I didn't grow up wealthy, just because I didn't have a trust fund, doesn't mean that I don't deserve to be wealthy, doesn't mean that I can't build it. I had to learn that for myself. Wealth is not for other people, it is for you too. Money doesn't care who you are, doesn't care what you look like. It comes to you when you set the intention. You set the goal, you create the vision, and then you take the action. And you keep taking those actions consistently over time, no matter what. That myth that money is only for a certain kind of person, that you can only have money if you grew up with it, if you were exposed to it, that it's too late if you're a certain age to have money, that is simply what I said, myth. It is a myth. If you want it bad enough, if you have the intention, like I mentioned, you can leverage money to create impact, not just for yourself, to create change, not for just for yourself, but for your family and for your broader community too. So whether you are a woman, a man, you're black or brown, however you identify, money doesn't care. Set your intentions, put in the work, don't give up, adjust, refine, learn from your mistakes, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep going. You are not late. You are not behind. You are on your own timeline. Again, those are lessons that I also learned from my parents. I always say this. Wealth is not about perfection. Building wealth is not about perfection, about having everything perfect. It is a messy journey. You're going to make mistakes. The key is that you keep going. It's about persistence and strategy and executing on that strategy that you put in place. It's about learning as you go and repeating those uncomfortable steps that put you out of your comfort zone because you have a why that you truly want bad enough. Now, when it comes to financial strategy, I have a ton of content from all of my books to the videos on this channel that talk about what you can do to save, to budget, to pay down debt, to start investing, to start building long-term wealth and creating a legacy. But first of all, I want you to embrace the idea and embrace the mindset that you are deserving of what you desire and you're deserving of wealth. You may not have inherited wealth, but you can build it and you can have it. My parents planted the seed, but I am the one that is now growing the tree, and I'm going to leave this legacy for my kids and beyond. And I also get to help others eat from the fruit of this tree based on those seeds that my parents planted. So again, you can break cycles, you can rewrite stories, you can achieve your goals. I say that so often, and this is because that is the truth. So I'd love for you to share any important money lessons that you have learned, whether it's from your parents, from family members, from people who have impacted your lives. Share in the comments and inspire others. Thank you so much for watching this video. I wanted to do something different this time and share a few personal stories, and we'll get back to more financial focused content in future videos. Thank you so much for being here, and I will talk to you next time.